What's up, internet? My name is Sammy Fightmaster and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be talking about one of the new Netflix movies called The Prom. Now this movie is an adaptation of an actual Broadway musical by the same title. I did a reaction to the trailer a couple months back, so I will link that somewhere for you to see if you want to go check that out. Now, like I said in my trailer reaction video, I first learned about the Broadway musical The Prom from one of my friends who is really into Broadway. She is very in tune to all the shows happening, even if she hasn't seen them herself. And she stumbled upon The Prom, loved all the music in it, and she passed it on to me about a year ago because she thought it would be something that I would really enjoy, and she was right. So I've kind of known about the story of The Prom for a while now, but we found out back in October that Netflix was doing a movie adaptation of this show. So once I found out about that, I got very, very excited to see this movie. It is also directed by Ryan Murphy, who I have reviewed several of his most recent shows that he has done on this channel, but he is also really well known for one of his shows that is one of my favorites that I rewatch at least once a year, and that is Glee. I'm a huge Gleek. I know some people don't really like it, but I absolutely loved that show. So I was very excited to see that he was the director because he's dealt with musical situations before, and I thought he would bring a really fun aspect with his style of directing to this story. So The Prom is about a troupe of self-obsessed Broadway stars consisting of Dee Dee, Barry, Angie, and Trent, who are trying very hard to revive their slowly dying careers. Basically, they're looking for a cause that they can kind of publicly throw themselves behind, get some good press, and show people that they are not the narcissists that everybody believes them to be. They stumble upon the story of Emma, who is a high school girl from a conservative small town in Indiana who just wants to go to the prom with her girlfriend, but the school PTA has other plans. So that sounds like a cause that these Broadway stars can get behind, so they decide to do everything in their power to help Emma out. Obviously, their motive for helping Emma out does not come across as the most genuine, but I think that throughout the movie, all the characters develop really, really well, and I absolutely loved this movie. It had great songs that were very catchy and have been stuck in my head since I watched the movie. Some just fantastic dance numbers, which I always appreciate a good dance number because I am horrible at dancing. I cannot dance to save my life. So I'm always in awe of all the amazing dance moves that people can do because I wish I could do that and I can't. So I know that that takes talent, and props to them. Not to mention, the acting was phenomenal. There is an all-star cast in this movie. It's fantastic and everybody worked so well together and I loved it. Obviously, this movie's main characters are Broadway stars and it's an adaptation of a Broadway musical, so it has a very high theatrical level, which just was a fun element in the movie. Yes, it's not entirely a realistic movie, but it was fun and very heartfelt and just a wholesome movie that I loved. This is definitely a movie that you can just get lost in and just escape from reality for a little bit. We all need that this year. I really loved all the bright colors that were used in this movie. I love bright colors. Obviously, I have multicolored lights on my tree because I cannot do just plain white lights. I need the bright colors. Obviously, since they're characters from Broadway and also dealing with the queer community, it has a lot of the rainbow colors in it that are just so bright and so fun, and it was very pleasing to the eye for me. It might not be for everybody else. I just thought it was a fun layer in this movie. This story also took me on an emotional roller coaster that I was not expecting at all. Obviously from the trailer, you know it's about a girl who just wants to take her girlfriend to prom and people don't want that to happen. So that's not a very fun thing to talk about, and that can be kind of heartbreaking to discuss in a movie because that kind of stuff does happen in real life and it's horrible. So there were moments like that deal with things like that and deal with big issues that made me tear up and made me flat out cry in parts of this movie. But then there were also plenty of just funny, bright, very theatrical moments that make you just smile and you can't stop. So it's a 2-hour movie. Buckle up, you're going to be feeling a lot of emotions throughout this movie. But by the end, it just left my heart feeling so happy. Like, I just really enjoyed this movie. It was something you can get lost in, got to escape from whatever's happening in 2020 for just a little bit and watch a very pretty, fun, entertaining movie. Now, this all-star cast that I was mentioning earlier is made up of Meryl Streep, James Corden, Nicole Kidman, Andrew Rannells, Keegan-Michael Kerry Washington. So all those people are just fantastic. But also in this movie is Ariana DeBose, who, when I saw the trailer, did not recognize her, but I had people comment on my reaction video that let me know that she is actually who plays the Bullet in the Hamilton musical. And I went back and watched that and I was like, oh my goodness. So she already has some fantastic acting experience. She was on Broadway in one of the most popular shows of the last several years. So she killed it in this, which what else would you expect? And also we had a newcomer in this movie, Jo Ellen Pellman, who played Emma, and I thought she killed it as her character. Not to mention her vocals are insane, but also I thought it was a really smart move to have kind of a fresh, unknown face in this movie for that role. Obviously, she doesn't really look like a teenager. Neither does Ariana DeBose. But unlike her other all-star castmates, she hasn't been around a ton of directors that have influenced her performance. She's just her. And that was really nice to see, and I think really was needed for the character of Emma. So definitely congratulations to her. You killed it. This whole cast killed it. Everybody played their role so well. Now, this movie takes place in Indiana, and it does not really paint Indiana in the best light. So if you are from Indiana, just take that for what you will. So we know going into the movie that they are going to be dealing with issues like homophobia and acceptance and the struggle to be accepted. And the way that they deal with it in the movie is obviously very simple and very unrealistic, because the way that they handled it in the movie is just not what happens in real life. I mean, it should be as simple as the way that they dealt with it in this movie, but it isn't. But this movie is not supposed to be realistic. That is not the purpose of this movie. The purpose of this movie is to bring a smile to your face and just kind of be lighthearted and fun, and yes, push the idea that we should all accept each other, but it's not meant to be a super heavy movie, which is how when you start diving into these issues and getting a little more complicated than what they did, they stuck very surface level, which is okay. If you dive deep into these issues, they get very dark and very heavy very quickly, and that is not what they wanted to achieve in this movie. And that's okay. So just keep that in mind. It is unrealistic, but it's meant to be. It's a very satirical, theatrical comedy, so it's not meant to dive too deep into these issues. I'm gonna be rating this movie 4.5 stars because I did really enjoy it. It was a very fun movie to watch and just escape from reality, and you've got to take it for what it is. It is very dramatic, very theatrical, very colorful, and very unrealistic, but it's trying to be that. I really enjoyed its heartfelt message. It had fantastic acting, very awesome, mind-blowing performances in it. It was just a very wholesome movie that left me just smiling and happy by the end of it. I'm giving it 4.5 stars instead of 5 because even for me, knowing it's very theatrical and it's gonna go over the top because it's Ryan Murphy, there were some moments that I thought were a little too over the top, and it kind of distracted me for a little bit. So that is the only reason that I'm not giving it 5 stars, but I still really enjoyed it and still really recommend that you go check it out if this sounds like something you'd be into. So The Prom is streaming now on Netflix, starring all the amazing people that I have talked about in this video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new around here, thank you so much for watching this video. And I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe at the end of the video. And then after you subscribe, hit the bell off to the side to be notified when I post new videos. Now that is all that I've got for you today, so I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.